If you're an introverted entrepreneur and you're feeling a little bit awkward on camera, maybe stiff, not sure how to stand, what to do with your shoulders, your hands, you're probably making one of these 10 common mistakes that are totally crushing your credibility, even if you've got great content. And if you're doing more than 3 of these things, you are inadvertently turning off repelling ideal clients, and that is costing you money. So we're gonna fix that right now in this video. Hey, I'm Shirley, former television journalist turned video coach for entrepreneurs. I teach business owners how to develop a magnetic on-camera presence so they can grow their businesses with video, attract more clients, make more money. Whether you're working on growing a YouTube channel, doing webinars, or just hopping on Zoom calls with prospects, this video is going to help you immediately level up your on-camera presence so that you can come across as more credible, more confident, and ultimately attract more people to your world. And make sure you stick around for number 7 because it's a huge one, and it's one of the biggest things that I see preventing entrepreneurs from connecting on camera. Okay, let's jump right into the 10 things to stop doing immediately. And the first one is going to sound kind of weird, but it's stop obsessing over your face. So many people, myself included at times, think so hard about what their face is doing. Do my eyebrows look weird? Am I coming across as awkward? Or do I look like I'm nervous? Or whatever it is that's going through your head. Even if you're someone who feels confident internally while you're delivering your stuff, you may not come across that way. Because confidence and magnetism are completely different. Confidence is an internal state of being. It's about you. It's something you feel within. Whereas magnetism is an external force. It is literally emanating from you and attracting people to you. They don't know even what it is. They just know that they want to listen to what you have to say. And how do you do that? You act like you act in real life. So instead of looking at the camera as this object, as this thing you have to perform for, imagine that right on the other side of the camera, there is a person that you know. In fact, I encourage you to picture someone you actually know who's listening to what you're saying. And you don't have to perform for them. You don't have to make yourself into someone you're not, because that is part of where the awkwardness is coming from. Now, listen when I tell you that you don't have to become this over the top version of yourself. You do have to punch yourself up about 20% beyond what feels natural. And that might sound like a bit of a contradiction, but think about that saying that the camera adds 10 pounds. Which I don't necessarily agree with, by the way. But the camera does have a way of sucking some of your energy out. So you're going to have to think of how you feel on your best day, putting on an outfit that you love to wear, and speaking to someone who you just love. And you're just excited to talk to them, whether it's a friend you haven't seen in a while, your kids at the end of a day of school, whatever it is, picture someone you absolutely love on the other side. It's your expression that actually connects with people. And if you're not sure how you come across, one of the really uncomfortable things that I encourage you to do is watch yourself back. This is one of those things that clients hate when I tell them to do, but it's really the only way to know how you come across on video. The more you can watch yourself back and desensitize yourself to seeing yourself on camera, the more comfortable you will ultimately become. Number 2, stop staring at yourself on screen. What does that look like? Right now, I'm shooting on Ecamm, which is a platform where I'm recording live to my computer, and I'm looking at myself as I'm recording. And what's wrong with this picture? I'm not looking at you. People don't think about this when they're recording, but if you don't look the camera in the eye, the lens, it's the digital equivalent of staring at someone's chest, which you would never do in real life, right? So don't do it digitally. Simple as that. Just look at the lens. I know it can suck, but the more you do it, the less of a big deal it's going to be. Yes, even as an introvert. Number 3, stop talking in a monotone voice that's boring me to death. I have a whole video on how to use my 4 Ps framework to deliver better on camera. You can catch that right here in the top corner of your screen if you want to check that video out. But speaking in a monotone voice is a way to completely bore people. Flat, emotionless delivery will kill your video. It will kill your engagement. It will kill your reach. Because if all the words sound the same, your viewer doesn't know what to emphasize, where the point should land. Using intonation in your voice, even if it's not how you are inclined to speak, That's how you get people to really understand what you're saying, to really relate to what you're saying, to really connect to what you're saying. One of the reasons that so many introverts and entrepreneurs resort to this monotonous delivery is because they're trying to remember facts, they're trying to memorize information. Newsflash, if you haven't noticed, information is free. You can get it anywhere on the internet now. So just knowing stuff is not going to get you clients. It's not going to make the difference between someone relating to you on Zoom or not. It's not going to get you that promotion you're seeking at work. What will do that is your perspective, your experience, your unique way of delivering. And how do you do that effectively? Through stories. So if you can tell more stories in your content, on your videos, you will naturally speak in less of a monotone, because how can you tell a good story in a monotone? I dare you, try it. Let me know in the comments. Try to tell a really good story in a total monotone. You're gonna have to consciously think about it, because you're not gonna naturally tell a boring story when it's not boring. Number 4, ignoring your posture. When you slouch on camera, you are sending the message that you are insecure, that you are a bit meek. Whereas when you roll your shoulders back, take a breath, and take up the space that you're meant to, you are conveying authority. You're conveying confidence. Yes, confidence is important, but you also want to be welcoming the viewer into your world. And if you're all closed off, you're not going to send off those good vibes. So just make sure before you start recording to really roll your shoulders back and get in the zone so you can really have that open body language for your viewer. Number 5, stop reading scripts with a teleprompter. Stop reading word for word. I don't care if you tell me that big creators do it. I will tell you that I can tell every single time. There's a certain eye movement that happens when you're reading from a teleprompter. You're not seeing it now because I don't have a teleprompter. I worked in the news business for more than 15 years. I've used teleprompters, but the majority of the time that I was on camera, I never touched a teleprompter, because being out in the field as a reporter, going live, there's no prompter. There isn't even a script. And let me tell you something, nothing gets you to be a better public speaker than to just have to speak to a camera. Yes, of course you plan what you're going to say. Yes, of course you have bullet points. Of course you have an outline. You're not just blindly speaking, because otherwise you'll be rambling. But you're not memorizing anything but your hook and your call to action at the end. Everything in the middle should be natural, should be the way that you speak. It'll also make you speak in a more confident and natural way, because you're not going to be constantly obsessing over, what was I going to say? What was my line? If you mess up one word, that's it. Game over. You've got to start again. Which leads me to number 6. Stop over-explaining everything. Not everything requires like a 10-minute tangent. And a lot of the game here on YouTube is retention. Once you've overcome that hurdle of getting someone to click on your thumbnail, be intrigued by your title, your only job is to keep them watching. And if you're going off on tangents, or you're over-explaining things, or you're harping the point, or you're repeating yourself, people are not going to stick around. They'll be like, saw that already. Next, what else do you have for me? So keep things tight. And this is where editing is your friend. When you're delivering your lines, make sure to pause between thoughts. It'll make editing a whole lot easier. All right, here's number 7. I promised you this one was going to really open your eyes. Stop trying to sound so professional. When you're trying too hard, you either come across as arrogant or super unnatural and stiff. Just talk like a human. Use conversational language. No acronyms, no jargon because you think it makes you sound smarter. Even if you're speaking to a very educated audience that knows your niche, you still want to speak in conversational terms. Politicians do this all the time. Complex policy issues explained in a very simple way. Yes, there are people in the population that need it explained in a very simple way, but there's also a lot of people who can understand very complex things. And yet, they're always speaking in simple, plain language, because those are the sound bites that make the news. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason people are drawn to simple language that is like people talk. Number 8, stop using filler words. This is especially important if you're going live, if you're being interviewed on a podcast. They're words that are basically a waste of your breath. In an era where every single second counts, you're wasting precious seconds with fluff language that makes you sound unsure of yourself, too flippant, These words will sneak in and weaken your message, and they'll make you sound a little flaky. Depending on your niche, there are certain words that may be okay, but if you're doing that too much in your content, you may inadvertently turn people off because you will come off as less of an expert. So stop asking people things like, "Does this make sense?" Because, duh, if it didn't make sense, they would tell you. And why are you asking? It makes it seem like you're worried that you're not making sense. And why are you not making sense? Number 9, stop recording without practicing. I said don't script, but that doesn't mean you don't practice. It doesn't mean you don't rehearse. It doesn't mean you don't optimize what you're going to say before you say it. It doesn't mean winging it. And so if you take a few minutes to practice, especially the beginning of what you're going to say, saying it to camera a few times, one trick I teach clients is hit record before you're ready to start speaking. Start delivering your lines, and then you may get a take you like, but if you don't, you're not actually having to hit record and have that, okay, here we go. You've already done it and the camera's rolling already. So it makes you much more natural, and you tend to have better delivery after the first or second take. And number 10, stop hiding your hands. Your hands are your friend. There is such a thing as overdoing it. I teach this as the conductor, people who use their hands too much. But if you don't use your hands at all, then you lack some of that relatability and magnetism, because your hands can be used to really emphasize words, help you land a point. The key is you don't want to overthink the hands. You can overdo it with your hands, especially if what you're doing with your hands is really repetitive and you're constantly using the same movements. That can be super distracting. And if you're doing this right, it should come pretty naturally to you. And this is going to come with practice. But if you're thinking too hard about what to do with your hands, that's when you start to look awkward with them. So while I said use your hands, if you're trying to do it and it's just not working for you, at first, until you get the rhythm, just keep them folded in front of you or by your sides. And then as you become more comfortable, you will naturally start to use your hands again. Just don't underestimate how powerful they can be as a tool in public speaking. Look, I know I just threw a lot at you, and if you're still with me, know that if you just implement even a few of these things, you're instantly going to be more relatable, more credible, and more magnetic on camera. And one of the biggest things that I want you to remember is a lot of this starts before you even hit record. You need to have a really good pre-filming routine that's going to help you get into the zone, iron out some of the kinks, and make sure that you're not wasting any time when you go to film. So I've put together a free resource for you. It's a checklist that you can put up right where you film your videos, and make sure you do it every time you're about to hit record. And I promise it's going to help you get more into the zone and be more effective and less awkward on camera, especially as an introvert. Now, I talked about scripting in this video, or not scripting, and there are a couple of mistakes that I'm seeing a lot of people do when it comes to using AI to generate their script or their plan or what they're going to say. It's not just how you're saying it, it's what you say that is going to make or break your success with video. So watch this video next to see how you can use AI to support your script writing, not write the script for you. Spoiler alert, it's going to require a little bit of this.